Hello everyone. In today's Create With Me video, I'm making a little pouch with a zip to wash my reusable makeup wipes. I recently swapped to using reusable makeup wipes instead of the single-use disposable ones. The swap was pretty easy because these little microfiber pads are super soft and work really well removing makeup. The box recommends washing them with warm soapy water after each use, but then once a week putting them in a machine wash, and they will supposedly last, I think it said, for 1,000 uses. The problem I'm facing is the machines at the laundromat already devour my socks, so I know these little guys are going to disappear into the abyss, never to be seen again. So to conquer that issue, I'm making a little pouch to wash them in. The challenge in this project is I've never sewn a zip before, so this is going to be an interesting experiment in following instructions on how to sew a zip into a little pouch. I follow a YouTuber called Rosery Apparel who has amazing little tutorials on 10-minute projects, and one of them is what she calls a coin pouch. I figured I could probably use that little pouch to wash my makeup wipes. I watched that one again today to remind myself, took a few notes, and hopefully it'll turn out as cute as hers did. I picked up a zip from my local supply store, and it's an 18cm zip, whereas the one in the video from Rosery Apparel was a 20cm zip. So I'm just going to shave 2 centimeters off of the measurements, and hopefully that works. I picked up this cute peachy pink color because I know I have some leftover fabric that kind of matches. So now I just need to go through my stash and make sure I've got enough of my offcuts to make a little bag. I'll be right back with some fabric. So I have these 2 pieces. It's going to be a double layered bag, a lined bag, however you say it. It's going to have a lining. So one fabric needs to go on the outside, one fabric needs to go on the inside. I'm not sure which I'll use yet. These 2 complement each other quite well, and they also go with the zip quite well. So let's measure these up and make sure I have enough. Okay, so I did have enough of my preferred fabrics left over to make the bag. I have 4 pieces that are 13 centimeters by 18 centimeters, which is 2 centimeters smaller than the Rosery Apparel tutorial. If I had an iron, I would get rid of the creases in these, but I don't, and you know what, it's a wash bag, so not really that fussed about it being slightly skew if that's what ends up happening. I've got to start pinning the bag together, which means starting the zip. Send me all your well wishes, please. I don't know, maybe it's going to be really straightforward. Maybe it's not. We're going to find out. Don't follow my video for how to do a zip. I will link the Rosery Apparel channel video below. Follow that one. I'm going to start pinning. The first lot of pins are in place. So this part is all about sandwiching the 2 layers of fabric over the zip. Now I need to sew along this edge and then repeat the process with the other 2 pieces of fabric on the other side of the zip. I'm already having some doubts about whether this is going to work because the fabric is starting and ending exactly where the zip is, whereas on the tutorial I think there was some overlap of the fabric to cover all of the zip. Maybe the measurements of the zip used in the tutorial are different to the zip that I've got, because I thought I could just take off the 2 centimeters and it would still work out the same. I don't know, maybe this is how it's meant to be, I'm not really sure, but we're going to find out. I'm going to start sewing, repeat this on the other side, and then touch base again. I'm sorry if you can hear that annoying rumble in the background. There is a truck idling just outside. I've been waiting 20 minutes for it to move on. It's showing no sign of doing so. My life goal is to have neighbours far enough away that you cannot hear them. I can't wait. Anyway, both sides of the zip now has fabric stitched to it. I had a bit of trouble getting my sewing machine past the zip, but I just ended up having to lift the needle and then pull the zip down to finish the ends. We got it done. The next stage in the tutorial says to open the zip about 3/4 and then sew the same fabrics together. So the 2 outer layers and the 2 lining layers. Janelle also said to leave a small opening in the lining portion so that you can flip it out the right way for the final stitch. I still have my doubts about the fabric being big enough, because the way it's going, I'm going to have to sew over the zip. But I'm going to proceed anyway, and we'll see how it turns out. I can always unpick it and cut some new fabric if it fails miserably. Okay, time to pin. The layers have now been sewn together. I did 1 straight stitch all the way around, leaving a gap at the bottom of the lining to flip it the right way around. I also went around and did a zigzag stitch because I know this fabric is prone to fraying. As expected, it was really hard going over the zip section, so I think I've done enough hopefully to secure it. I just kind of went over it a few times as best I could, And again, zigzag stitch the edge because that looks like it's fraying quite a bit as well. The last thing to do will be top stitch the opening of the lining closed. So, moment of truth, let's flip it out and see if it worked. Okay, it's looking like it worked so far. I've just got to poke the corners out. And again, the tutorial says to iron this before you stitch it, but I'm just going to pin it as flat as I can and then top stitch it closed, and it's done. Let's go. The lining layer is top stitched closed. Again, because I'm worried about it fraying and opening up, I actually did two, and I only did from here to here where it was actually open. Now it's time to push the lining inside. It worked! You can see the lining fabric in there, the outer fabric, the zip is nice and contained in all the corners, or the two corners. And now it's time to put it to the test. I'm really happy with how this bag has turned out, and hopefully the washing machine doesn't eat it like it eats my socks. I think the peach colour of the zip complements all the colours in the fabric really nicely. Despite the few little troubles I had putting the zip in and my fabric not quite being big enough, it came together really nicely, and the tutorial itself was really easy to follow. So again, I'll put a link in the description, but I really hope you enjoyed watching me trying to make my own. Check out Rosery Apparel if sewing is your jam. In the meantime though, you know the drill. Like a video to feed the creator for a day, subscribe to support them forever. Until next time, stay creative. Hello everyone. Can't even say hello. I probably won't talk about that. Let's just make sure I said everything that I wanted to say. Excuse me. So this, ow, we can't possibly fit that many trucks down there. Driving me nuts. Today is cursed.
In the meantime, you know the drill.
Yeah, I know, that's what I gotta say, but I gotta get away to read into it than that.